I heard a quote just the other day from, I think, the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. And he said, I never lost a game. I just ran out of time. So you could think, I wasn't able to close that deal because I ran out of time and they ran out of money and blah, blah, blah. You can choose that. And now you can think, all right, how can I improve in the future so I do this quicker or do it better in similar circumstances where I still get those deals? But you're not like, oh, I'm no good. I can never close people like that. When you have that level of self-talk, you're hurting yourself. So believe you are the absolute killer you desire to be. Believe it to your core. Let that dictate how you think about what happens to you externally. Let that dictate your actions and what you do repeatedly, and the results will come. Welcome, everyone, to the Close More Sales podcast. Today, we're exploring how belief shapes our reality in sales and transforms goal setting from a simple numbers game into a catalyst for professional evolution. We will not simply talk about arbitrary targets, but crafting goals that reshape your self-image and propel you beyond conventional benchmarks. We're into the new year now. I took a break for a little while for paternity leave, and so we're going to focus going forward. At its heart, this episode examines what elevates a salesperson from competent to exceptional. We're moving past simplistic fake it till you make it mantras to explore how your fundamental beliefs about your worth, your capabilities, and the value of your time directly impact your sales performance. Because here's the truth. Most salespeople are stuck in shallow goal-setting patterns, chasing numbers without understanding the forces behind them. And we're breaking this pattern today. We will explore how top performers weave their core beliefs into goal setting, not as motivational fluff, that's not what I do, but as a strategic framework that aligns daily consistent actions with long-term vision. So hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us if you're just listening to this on audio, and get ready to discover why successful goal setting in sales requires both a compelling external vision and an unshakable internal narrative. So let's explore how to set ambitious goals anchored in genuine belief and your ability to achieve them. So why listen to this anyway? The purpose of this show is to empower sales professionals and entrepreneurs to push themselves to grow, achieve unimaginable success without burning out, and ultimately transform their lives. I'm Ian Ross, and I am obsessed with all things sales, and I work with teams across the world to make more money by asking better questions. The most proven path to achieving financial freedom is maximizing your earning potential, and a sales role is the lowest barrier with the highest possible ceiling for entry onto that path. Anyone can become a killer salesperson with the right techniques, mindset, and consistency. And everything we cover on this podcast is geared toward one thing: helping you close more sales so you can live the life you want. If you would like to get a sheet breaking down all the things we say on a follow-up call, text follow up, 2 words, to 33777, and we'll send you a template of what to say on the phone completely for free. So you never say, I'm just following up or I'm just checking in ever again. Okay? So let's get into this here. I'm going to talk about the power of belief in sales. Belief underpins every aspect of our sales performance, from the way we communicate to the energy we bring to our interactions. And this goes way deeper, actually, than simply performance in your work. This is not just about your work and how you do at sales. It's deeper than that. If you truly believe it to your core that you are a top tail sales professional, this belief will color all of your interactions and the strategies you use in those interactions. Okay, so let's break this down here. Belief leads to how we think. It leads to thoughts. Beliefs lead to thoughts. Thoughts create actions. Actions can develop into habits, and habits, which is repeatable results, or repeatable actions rather. Habits are repeatable actions. Repeatable actions determine our results. I'll repeat that again to make sure it hits home, and also because I messed up a little bit. Beliefs lead to thoughts. Thoughts create actions. Actions can develop into habits, and habits determine our results. What we do repeatedly determines our results. Okay? So let's talk about how we can apply this here. How a positive belief system acts as the foundation for utilizing effective sales techniques and having customer interactions go the way you hope for it. This is not a woo-woo episode. I'm not talking about like, you can create your reality, you can manifest whatever you want. I don't care if you believe that or not. I don't care if you believe in The Secret or frequencies or manifesting with vibrations. That doesn't matter. Here is what matters. The beliefs you hold inside yourself about a thing, about yourself, about the world. Your beliefs will determine how you think about what happens to you externally. This has been proven time and again through polls, through interactions, through human psychology, is understanding that how you view a thing determines how that thing actually feels to you. I'll give you an example. I feel like I've talked about this on the podcast, I don't know, a year ago or something like that, which is that if you work out, because I'll make it personal. I work out. And so when I work my arms, when I work my biceps, I feel a particular pride in that effort the next day, even though my arms are sore. Because I know I push my muscles to the limits, and that soreness is them growing. That pain, that objective sensation of tightness in the muscles, of feeling stiff and sore, is a representation of putting effort forward, and it means the muscles are growing to feel that soreness. And so even though I am in essentially pain in my arms the next day, and now that I'm in my late 30s, the day after that, I'm sore for 2 days now as I get older. Not fair, but also true. That soreness is a representation of working hard and working towards my goals, and I'm proud of that soreness. It feels good to know I'm in pain because it means I did the work right, as long as that pain is within a reasonable threshold. If that same objective sensation, that tightness in the muscles, the slight soreness, came as a result of a side effect of medicine that I was taking to help fight cancer, I would be miserable in that soreness, in that tightness in my arms, because my belief as to why it was happening and what it meant made me feel like a victim. Poor me. I can't believe I feel sore. It's so unfair that I feel this as I'm dealing with this outside influence. And the medicine caused it. I didn't even do it, even though it's an objective sensation. How we view an event, our belief about that event, determines how we feel about it. It determines our thoughts on that thing. And so if you choose to believe a certain thing, your thoughts will change around that belief. Now, I've heard some people push back on this idea that you can't choose your beliefs, right? You can't choose what you believe. To an extent, with certain things, that might be true, okay? That might be true to an extent with certain things. With other things, you absolutely can choose how you believe. So, what can you not choose? If you believe in God and I tell you, believe there is no God, you might not be able to do it. If you do not believe in God and I tell you, believe in God, you might not be able to do it just like that, right? It's not something you can just simply turn on the way you can choose what shirt you wear. For aspects like that, that might be harder to choose an overarching belief if you're already oriented a different way, right? If you look at the sky and you see it's blue, can I say believe it's red? Not really. Okay, so I'm not asking you to change your perception of things outside of your understanding of that reality, because that's too hard. However, you can look at your experience and choose your beliefs on top of that. So the reason you can't change your belief about a deity in the sky or watching over you or the color of a thing you're looking at is because that goes contradictory to your actual lived experience. And your brain is not letting you do that. In terms of the belief of self-worth, you can use the lived experience of other people and yourself combined with it in thinking, if other people believe they have self-worth, believe a thing will work out for them, and then it works out for them, can I choose to believe the same thing? Because over a long enough time horizon, that could effectively give me the same results. Because you can see other people having those results, and you can probably see it in your own life. When you've seen aspects of your life that felt like a challenge, that felt terrible in the moment, over a long enough time horizon, you saw it was for the best. So you can do the work in your own life and go, hey, that rejection, that put down, that failure actually turned out to be the best for the long run. In your lived experience, you can realize that you can choose to believe ahead of time that what you're going through in the moment that feels tough, that feels unfair, is actually for the best. So you can choose an aspect of your beliefs as long as it is not incongruent with your lived experience. So the way to make it congruent with your lived experience is to extend out the time horizon, because over a long enough time horizon, you can probably make things for the best. And that can also come true into your beliefs about who you are. If you see other people who believe they are valuable, believe they are the man, they are the girl, they're the woman, they're the guy, they're the master, they're the one who can get it done, and they believe that before they actually are that, and then they become that, did that play an aspect in it? Of course it did. Now, it won't work for everyone because actions have to actually align with the belief. But if you really believed it, your actions would align with it. So the question is, if someone who says they believed it, did they live the life of someone who believed it? This is getting a little vague and woo-woo-y in the way I'm talking about this, but it's so important. Understand that how you view the world and how you view yourself is a choice. It absolutely is a choice. Is this for you or is it against you? Will things work out for you or will they not? Do I think things don't work out for me? Guess what? You're right. Do things usually work out for me? Do I think they do? Guess what? You're right. You can choose to believe certain aspects about who you are and who you want to be. I did not used to have this level of belief, and I did not used to have the level of success I have now. Those two have gone quite literally hand in hand. They are not separate. They are the same. You can choose that same thing. Belief dictates how you feel and think, and how you feel and think will then translate into what you actually do. Because if you think a thing is true, you will act as if it is true. And if you act as if it is true repeatedly, that is a habit. And habit, what you do repeatedly, dictates your world and the results you get. Believe your time is valuable. Believe you are a killer salesperson who can get everything done, who can close every closable deal, who can make the money you are deserving of making. Believe you are that person. Actually believe it. Actually believe it so that when you get a rejection, it's not your fault because you messed up. It might be. I mean, we want to take personal accountability, but it's not your fault because you always mess up. This is a differentiation. If a deal didn't close, it's not your fault because you always mess up and you can't close someone who's more successful than you. Let's say you have that type of limiting belief. No, your belief should be, oh, I was tired and so I ran out of time, right? And didn't let that work for me that day. I heard a quote just the other day from the greatest, if not one of the greatest, depending if it's debatable, I think the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. And he said, I never lost a game, I just ran out of time. So you could think, I never lost a sale, I just ran out of time to do the follow-up. You can believe things like that, right? And there's aspects of believing that doesn't get you as imbalanced as some of those top performers where they're falling off the rails, but you could simply choose to believe things. I wasn't able to close that deal because I ran out of time and they ran out of money and blah, blah, blah. You can choose that. And now you can think, all right, how can I improve in the future so I do this quicker or do it better in similar circumstances where I still get those deals? But you're not like, oh, I'm no good, I can never close people like that. When you have that level of self-talk, you're hurting yourself. So believe you are the absolute killer you desire to be. Believe it to your core. Let that dictate how you think about what happens to you externally. Let that dictate your actions and what you do repeatedly, and the results will come. This is a thing that's talked about by people who are selling you, crystals that do nothing and, orienting towards the moon on an afternoon, whatever, like stuff that I don't believe in. You can even tell from how I talk about it. So don't let the fact that some people use this terminology to sell you garbage or sell you ideas that don't actually come to fruition as a diminishment of the idea. Your belief dictates what you do, which dictates your results. That's all you have to think about it. Believe you are the man. You are the salesperson who can absolutely crush this if you so choose to. Believe it to your core and you will get the results. The thing is, it takes longer than you think to actually truly embrace that belief. For a while, you'll just be saying it. You'll just be saying it to the mirror, right? And it doesn't happen immediately. It's not a point A to point B. There's 50 points along the way. It's point A to point Z. But when you go through it the right way, you truly will create the life you want if you believe it. So I wanted to point that here as we're entering the new year and people are setting goals. Think of it that way. Now, in terms of goal setting, let's talk about my single greatest advantage and what got me amazing at sales is loving the process over the outcome.
I'm filming this video for the man himself, Mr. Ian Ross. The guy crushes. The guy's the best person in sales I've ever seen. I've invested elsewhere and I haven't got the same results. I've gone from being a seller, making 5K a month, to being a hybrid role, making 11K a month, to now be 4 months down the line from 5K to on a closing opportunity, inbound, full calendar with the best opportunity, the best offer in my space. OTE is around 20K a month from month 2. So I've gone from 5K to 20K. If that's not a return on your investment, I don't know what is, man. If you're a salesperson and you don't invest in sales training, you're gonna get left behind because your job is to be better at sales. And sales training directly makes you more money.
My name is Lance McCann. I have recently switched sessions with Ian Ross. Those conversations with Ian has made me $50,000 in the past 2 deals that I've had. I was able to renegotiate, go back and renegotiate the original purchase price on one deal, and I saved $40,000, and I got another $10,000 off my other deals. Call Ian, give him a chance. You won't regret it.
If you like what you just heard and you'd like to have similar types of results, similar success, text CLOSE, C-L-O-S-E, to 33777, and we'll see if you qualify to join Advanced Sales Mastery. We are taking people from good to great outcome. If we focus on our daily actions, we will find a significantly easier path towards hitting quota and in fact actually crushing quota than focusing solely on the outcome of the quota itself, okay? Each phone dial, each customer interaction, each follow-up call, every time you do anything, it all adds up. And if you focus on perfecting the actions, what you actually do, the results will come. So let's break down the math here. I want to get this. So a lot of you have probably set financial goals for the new year. Let's just say for math's sake, you want to make $100,000 a year as a commission-only sales rep who closes over the phone. And for convenience sake, we'll say on average you make $500 per sale, okay? Obviously, this will vary drastically depending on your individual circumstances, the company you work for, But one of the reasons to fall in love with sales as a career is because it is measurable with numbers, which means we can do basic division on the numbers that make up our activity and our current skill set and turn that into something worth celebrating, okay? So bear with me here. To reach that $100,000 at $500 a sale, it means you need to make 200 sales per calendar year. So to be precise, if you work, let's say 50 weeks a year, that's 4 sales per week as a baseline. So let's say you're closing at a 20% ratio, okay? Your closing ratio is 20%. So for every 5 people you try to close, 1 goes through. Not wildly unattainable for most industries. In this instance, that requires 20 appointments per week to sell 4 customers on a weekly basis. And let's say in this example, you're setting your own appointments. So you have to call, the leads come in, or maybe you buy leads, whatever, and you have to call them up to try and set an appointment to present them later to try and close them. And this was very similar to my setup in life insurance. Leads came in, and sometimes I had to either buy or get referrals for leads, and I had to call them and set an appointment. If it takes 10 dials on average to actually get an appointment, you have to dial the phone 10 times before you actually get an appointment. That means I need to make 200 dials per week or 40 dials per day if I'm working 5 days a week. So the way to think about this then is every single time you pick up the phone, dial a number, and no one answers, with the basic division of your goals, you just made $10. Imagine if every time you dialed your phone, you could see your bank account go up $10. Would you ever get burned out? Would you be able to weather the brutal sales roller coaster of objections and disappointment and record months and oh my God, I'm amazing, followed by being ghosted and lied to? Absolutely you would. Whatever your income goal actually is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, figure out the basic division of this based on your current numbers and celebrate your activity. It is the absolute hack to pushing past all your frustrations and slowdowns. Fall in love with the process and the results will come to you better than you could have ever imagined. I have seen this happen for myself personally, as well as other people I have coached. This is absolutely doable. It's one of those things that's easy to say and hard to do, but if you actually do it,
it will be massive. And so let's improve on the scenario I just gave you in a very realistic way. Let's say you get in our program, you're getting coached by me, and you increase, in this example, your closing ratio to 40%. Then every single call is worth $20. If a $20 bill appeared on the table in front of you every time you picked up the phone, dialed a number, and it went to voicemail, come on, right? And here's what's fun. When you can convince yourself that this is what sales really is, it's putting in the effort and following the process, your brain unlocks this to a whole new level. It's the same way professional athletes aren't actually paid just for the minutes they play in the game. Everyone actually knows this. They're paid for the lifestyle and the workouts and the training and the diet, everything they do around the minutes in the game. And the same is true for all of your activity in sales. Once you've reached that level, and you're not just focused on the sale itself, you actually want to work more. You desire more effort because the effort is the reward. It is the work. If you increased your skills to a 40% closing ratio, which by the way is still lower than mine right now, and then you get excited to work, and instead of dialing 40 numbers a day, you dial 100 numbers a day. Over the course of the year, in that same example, the exact same opportunity, you would not make $100,000, but $500,000 in personal commission-only income, okay? This is not fantasy. Sales reps across the world are embracing this philosophy and putting in the effort to make more calls and increase their skill set so these numbers align and they create incredible wealth in a very short period of time. This is absolutely doable if this is something that you are in favor of, okay? There's that point here. Let's talk about setting goals and using positive language in setting it. So I want to talk about very briefly towards instead of away from goals in the language that you use in your daily self-talk. So we're in the new year. Plenty of people are setting fitness goals. Instead of saying, I need to lose 10 pounds, which is an away from goal, focus on this idea of I want to become a healthy person who has healthy habits. Instead of setting the goal, I need to make sure I don't need to think about it ever again. Set the goal of becoming the salesperson who understands your prospects so well that they are always fully understood and feel ready to commit. Frame your goals positively towards something instead of away from something can lead to way more sustained motivation and success at what you do. Okay? Think about what your goal is. Think about it. Is it only make this much money? If so, you've got the activity way to do it. But if there's anything else you do, if it's moving away from anything, and you'll see this all the time in marketing. Marketing is always trying to tell you, you're missing out on this much. If you don't do this, this won't happen. It's always using things you're trying to avoid. I mean, I sold life insurance. That's a pretty away-oriented sale. If you are using away from language in the way you talk about what you were trying to do, you might take action on that thing 1 or 2 times, but you're not building the habits and the identity of someone who does those habits consistently to actually get the results over the long term. This is why so many gyms are empty by February. So many people burn out on their fad diets halfway through. It's because they're trying to do an away from goal instead of a towards goal. If you include your identity in what you are orienting towards, and there's a belief inside of that, you will have far more success. Okay? One last thing I want to touch on before we wrap up. I want to talk about here about reinforcing your sales goals with a belief-driven action. And the way to do that is something, again, sounds very woo-woo-y, but there's a role of affirmations here and visualization in reinforcing the belief in your sales goals, okay? You should regularly affirm what your value is and visualize the success you believe you are worthy of and reinforce that in your belief in your mind and goals over and over and over again so that the ability to achieve them seems second nature, okay? So rather than simply saying, I'm going to make this much money today, which is a surface level nothing affirmation, the goal should be, I am the type of person who closes every closable deal. right? It's not closes everyone, because if you close everyone, you're selling people who don't actually need or want your thing, and that's a scam artist, not a salesperson, to quote Zig Ziglar a little bit there, or paraphrase him. So again, I don't want to say I close 100% of people, because that's garbage. That's impossible. And we don't want to orient around something that's impossible and also implies not disqualifying, because sales has an aspect of disqualification at all times, and that we must understand that. But I close every closable deal. I close every closable deal. I am the type of salesperson who works harder than everyone else, who has the best interests of my customers at heart, and I close every closable deal. Build this self-talk into your daily routine. I don't care if you're shouting in the mirror, if you're doing it you're pounding your chest before you pick up the phone, but think this way, believe this to your core, so your actions can align with that. If you think a way, you will feel a way, you will act a way, you'll behave a way, results will come. Okay? So build this into routine. Don't just simply think this once, like it's the turn of the year. We've got new goals for 2025. I think this one time, great. Now I'll be this way forever. Everything takes longer than it should, but it happens more powerfully than you actually think. This has been true in my life over and over again. I've told this before, but I will repeat it here because it matters. My mantra that I got from Brian Tracy, initially, I don't remember if the third line I added on myself, but it was, I like myself, I love my work, and I am the best at what I do. And when I was first in sales, I was walking around like park in New York. I was walking around Astoria Park in Queens, for those of you who know that, in New York City, just saying that to myself 1,000 times a day, sometimes in my head, sometimes out loud, just over and over. And I was like, when are these results going to come? Why haven't this come? I've been saying this over and over again. It felt like it was taking forever. Like, all right, I guess it doesn't work. These affirmations don't work. What did I say? I like myself, I love my work, and I'm the best at what I do. None of those were true then. They are all true now. I really like myself. I like who I've become. I like who I am. I like what I'm capable of. I love my work. I love what I do on a daily basis. I like this work so much that I get more burned out from taking time off than from doing the work. Okay? This isn't possible for everyone all of the time, because if all you do is pottery and you're not good, maybe you can't make enough money at that and you have to do something else. But you should not be trying to, I didn't even plan on this point, but it's important. I love my work so much that I want to be working more. I get energized from the work I do. I don't get drained from it. I get drained from vacation. So how can you get energized from the same? How could I possibly love my work? Wait, is Ian just saying I should just do what I love? Rather than finding a thing that you love and then trying to do it professionally, if you can hack your brain to love what you do, you've unlocked a superpower. And now there's a mix of those two things combined, right? Because I was selling life insurance, I'm selling a different thing, and I'm training that. So I'm not doing the exact same thing. I'm not saying accept your fate and love your circumstances if you're miserable. But there's two sides to this, which is it's not simply let me just do what I love and try and make a living out of it. It can simply be, can I find a way to love what I do? Can I believe that this is a path towards personal development and success? If you're in a sales role, you probably can. If you're in a sales role and you're also watching this podcast, by the very nature of choosing to watch this, it means you're already oriented enough towards this type of role where it makes sense you could probably do it now. That doesn't mean you're not going to have, you're not going to get kicked in the shin and bumped on the head along the way. That is part of being in sales. But if you can choose to love the work and get energy from it, it's while you put in more activity than anyone else. You work harder because you want to, because it's not work. It's just living. It's existing. It's following something you want to do. So I repeated the mantra. I like myself. I love my work. I'm the best at what I do. I like myself. I freaking love my work. I genuinely think I'm the best at what I do. I might not have the best measurable success yet in terms of other sales trainers, but I believe to my core I am better than everyone else at this one thing, not in every possible way. At least if I say I'm going to do a thing, I do it. And I see so many people in the space who cannot deliver on that promise, who cannot deliver on that principle, that they say a thing out loud and therefore they follow up on it. If I say something out loud, I have to do it. If I say I'm going to do 10 push-ups today, I have to do 10 push-ups. If I say I'm going to make 100 dials, I have to make 100 dials. You can give yourself this power if you so choose. Speak what you believe into existence and you can make it true. It's not the universe bending to your will. It's you creating your own identity and then going out and doing the actions for it. These are different points. They lead to the same results, which is a life that is unbelievable, that has success you cannot imagine. And if you are not there yet, again, it takes longer than you think. It's taking longer than I've thought in different ways too. But what's powerful is you can, if you extend out the time horizon, realize you are already on the path. The pain doesn't go away. You just get more used to the pain. Okay? So if you are in the circumstance where you're getting rejected, it feels bad, you're not making the money you want, you're already in the right place. Stop trying to be someone else and love who you are right now and be worthy of the person who can get that bump on the head and keep going forward. This is how you set your goals and move forward with a trajectory, with a velocity that is worthy of getting up for and getting excited about, okay? We do this all the time as sales professionals. This is not most of my training is far more tactical than this. This is more rah-rah than I usually do, okay? But we're going into a new year. I've taken a break because I just had another baby. So I wanted to hype you up this way in a way I don't usually because it's worthy of doing. I will do this occasionally for some of our clients. But as we wrap up today's exploration of how beliefs, they shape our realities in sales and they play a pivotal role in figuring out the process orientation of our goal setting, let's solidify our understanding before we finish up here. Believing deeply in your abilities and who you are in those abilities, the intrinsic value of your time is valuable, and maintaining a process-oriented approach will create a powerful recipe for your self-success. Align your beliefs with deliberate actions and embrace a focus on process rather than just an outcome, and you can craft a self-fulfilling prophecy of success. This approach isn't just about, achieving targets. This is about transforming how you see yourself in the world and your role within it. I encourage each one of you, take a moment as we are now into this new year and reflect on your own beliefs, your beliefs about yourself and the goals you've set. Ask yourself, how can you integrate what I talked about today into your daily sales strategies, into your time, into your effort? How can you find renewed belief and to empower yourself and not just meet your expectations, but exceed them, to crush your targets, crush any goal you could have possibly imagined? How can loving the process, not just the results, reshape your approach to life? I invite all of you to share your story, share your feedback on this. If you've already done this, how is shifting your focus from purely outcome-based goals to process-oriented goals? How has it changed your results? How has it changed your life? How have the transformations affected all these other aspects of what you do on a day-to-day? Thank you for tuning into the Close More Sales podcast. This is your cue to put this insight into action, okay? You're on notice now. There will be a shift in your sales conversations. There will be a shift in your days, in your weeks, in how you operate when you come from a place of a strong, belief-driven desire to be who you want to be, who you know you should be. If you're excited to delve deeper into this and you want to master some of these principles, as well as get your closing ratio up so you can make more money per dial, text CLOSE, CLOSE, to 33777. I'm here to equip you with the tools you need to excel and make every single sales interaction profoundly impactful. Remember, sales can be more than just a job if you let it. This is a platform. It's an opportunity for creating profound connections and solving real challenges through communication and empathy. We can elevate our sales conversation. So let's do that by deeply embedding our refined beliefs into our core and focus on process-oriented goals. Love the process. The results will fall into your lap. I'm Ian Ross. This has been the Close More Sales podcast.